Welcome back, everybody, to channel to what was an absolutely insane game in a Copa del Rey Classic. It ends as a tie between Barcelona and Atletico Madrid, 4-4 in the first leg at the Montjuic. And to be fair, I feel like for Barca, this is a game we should have won. It is a bit annoying that we bottle a two-goal lead right at the end. Despite how well we played, especially considering how it went last match where we lost against them, and if we were doing the same thing, dominating, playing really well. But still, a really entertaining match. So let's get into it. If we do get into the match stats first, usually I start with the lineup, or I go over the goals first. But I think I start with the match stats just to truly put into perspective how I feel like we should have won this game. We dominated again. We did have our first few shaky minutes. Really, really bad start from Barcelona. We conceded two in like the first 6 minutes. Julian Alvarez getting a goal in the first minute from a cross, and Griezmann then scoring after that. Alvarez was causing us a lot of problems today as well. At least at the beginning, he was causing us problems. But just looking at the stats, we had a lot of expected goals, lots of chances today, lots of shots, lots of possession. And it is unfortunate because the amount of chances we did get that we just did not convert. Ferran making good runs again, but just I think he's better, which is weird, off the bench than he is starting, because as he started today, he just couldn't really finish those chances. Like those were crucial chances. But, we did end up scoring two in 2 minutes, to get a little bit of a comeback going. And a comeback for both teams at this point, which is crazy. But, you know, two really good goals from a corner, a good goal from Pedri, lovely team play as well. But yeah, really unfortunate that we let a lead go like that. Like if you are just looking at the stats alone, but I think we should get into some player performances and go over some of the goals. To see how this match went. If we do go over some of the player performances, I do want to get into Yamal and Pedri today, the two main, top performances on the team today. Yamal, just really good stuff. He was slacking a bit the last few games, I will say, but today he really brought his all. I think, in a weird way, under pressure, he performs better than the smaller games where you would expect him to, be able to create more or score more. But, really good stuff from him today. Lovely dribbles, lovely passing, and chance creation. Just every time he got the ball, he was causing problems for Atletico. Whether that be the crosses he was swinging in, even if they did get intercepted, just the threat that was there. I think needs to get a little less predictable. I think that would help, his game. But either way, really good attacking threat. He got an assist, puts it through the legs of Longley after leaving another Atletico defender on the floor to get it to Lewandowski for easy tapping. Pedri today, as I've always said, just an absolute masterclass. But even today was even better than some of the matches he's had. I think he just likes playing against Atletico, which is the funny thing. Some good trickery, just the control he brings that I don't think the other midfielders offer as much. Just super essential to a team. And I think you could see that when he did get subbed off. It just kind of I think that was kind of the reason we conceded too, along some more performances. But really good stuff from him today. Rafinha as well with the two great assists. On the corner, that Kubarsi goal that equalized, that made it 2-2. Really passionate celebration from him, kissing the badge. I love to see that. But just the celebration after his first senior goal, he was hyped. I mean, just I love seeing that stuff. Where somebody really cares for the club. Love seeing that. But yeah, I think Rafinha as well had a good game. I think his technicality is just also underrated. He has some really good skills. One of them where he kind of did like a stop and go nutmeg, really good stuff. Got across to Lewandowski, but Lewandowski got a bad shot on it, so and they end up in a goal. I think also De Jong as well alongside Pedri. I think they're pretty complementary. I think De Jong, you know, struggled defensively at first, in the first half of the game, but he picked it up afterwards, and really good stuff from him. There's still a lot he needs to improve on. I think in big games still, there's stuff he needs to do better that can be frustrating at times. But I don't really want to criticize him too much. I know some people are blaming him for today's loss. I don't think it's his fault. I just think it's some other performances that just were not great, or should have been better to not let us concede. I think one I do want to get into that kind of, is a little bit disappointing. Kunde, I think, was really poor today. I'm going to be honest. I think he gets a lot of bad criticism, or, harsh judgment. But he does play every game. So I don't know if it's the fact that, he's playing every game that he's not always 100%. Because when he is, he's really good. But a lot of times this season, and especially this game, they target that teams target that right side, and it is concerning because they'll target him. And a lot of the goals we end up conceded, or the goals today we ended up conceding, especially like three of them at least, were because of that right side. Because whether his positioning was off or he just did like a stupid mistake that shouldn't be happening. So I really wish he would improve that because it is frustrating to watch. To have that liability. I wouldn't say it's his fault entirely, but just not a great performance. And I hope we can maybe at times try to play Hector Fort more. Not because I think he's defensively much better or anything, but I think maybe Kunde does need some rest to always be at 100%, so he's not committing silly mistakes like this. But other than that, really good pressing from the team as well. Despite the two goals we could see early, after that was pretty much domination. You know, and the pressing was just so intense, just recovering constantly, not giving Atletico any time to breathe, causing them to make mistakes. It's just unfortunate that it happened again, like the last match, where Sorloth in both matches now has scored the last minute goal. Last time it was to beat us, and this time, in equalizer. I think this time, at least it's a Copa del Rey match. We have that second match, to go. But it just sucks because I feel like we should have come away with something, especially with the chances we have that we should have converted. But what can you do? So I think I'll get into some of the player ratings before I leave it off, because I haven't done that on this channel yet. No player ratings. So let's get into it and let's see what I have to say about some of the other performances. But if we do leave off with the player ratings for today, I think if we start with Szczesny, I'm going to give him a 5. That might be a little bit harsh because there was a couple of good saves, but there were just a few times, with those goals he conceded. He really should be doing better, and I think he's been improving so much in the last, few games, that it is just unfortunate to see the goals he conceded today. Not great from him, I would say. I won't go lower than that though, because I don't think it was absolutely awful, but he really should be doing better on a couple of them. I think Balde, I'll give a 7.5 today, just because he had some really good recoveries. I think he's just always improving, doing good. But I think when Rafinha is playing, on that left wing, I think it's just a problem we have this season, that when Rafinha is so narrow, Balde doesn't really have as much support, not as much he can, really, do. But I'll give him a 7.5 for today. I think Inigo and Kubarsi, I'll go with both a 7, because they both got that goal, and the pressing and some of the defensive work they were doing. But when you do concede 4, not really entirely their fault, I think it could have definitely been better from the whole back line. Kunde, I'm going to I'm going to stick with how I was criticizing the performance. I'm going to give him a 5 today, because he did get an assist, but just really the fact that the goals are coming from his right side, and a lot, he should be doing much better than he was today, considering how he's been all season. I'm going to be harsh and give a 5. I think Pedri Jamal, I'm going to give the same rating. I'm going to give a 9. I could give a 9.5, but I think I'll just give a 9, because they were both so good today, so instrumental to what we were doing. Really good stuff, absolutely just masterclasses, but especially from Pedri, as well, just like he always does. But great attacking play from them today. De Jong, I'll give a 7, just because I think it was a much better performance from him today. But I think sometimes the defensive work was a bit concerning, and sometimes the choices he has, where he kind of does that thing where he's hesitant to play forward pass, or he kind of keeps on to the ball too long, is still frustrating to watch. But I'll give him a 7. I think actually I'll give him a 7.5, just because I think he was better than the back line. So I'll give him a 7.5. Olmo, I'm gonna give a 6. Not that he was bad or anything, but unfortunately just didn't really do as much as he wanted to, be as creative maybe as he wanted to, or contribute as much to the attack as the others. So a little bit unfortunate for him, but I don't think it was bad by any means. Rafinha, I'll give an 8 just because of the 2 assists he got from the corner, really lovely stuff, and some of the trickery he had on show. For Ron, I'm going to give a 6. Actually, I'll give a 5.5. He wasn't absolutely horrible, but he had the chance. He was making good runs and stuff, but he had the few chances that he really should be scoring. So it is a bit unfortunate. As for the others, I think Lewandowski, I'll give a 7 just because he got that goal today. But when he does play, it's kind of like Ferran offers us the runs and stuff. And actually, I think I'll give Ferran a 6 because I don't want to be too harsh on him. Besides the 2 chances he missed, but I think Ferran gives us the runs, the ability to keep that attack fluid, but just really not as much when he's on the ball. I think Lewandowski, he has that ability to finish, but there's so many chances he wastes and he kind of clogs up the attack. So I'll go with the ratings for that. As for the others that came on, Eric Garcia, Fermin, and Gabby, honestly, I'm just going to stick with a 6 because I didn't really see anything from them, and also it just wasn't really great what they were offering when they did come on, and kind of the structure did get, a bit disjointed when they came on, which is, I feel like, is a reason we conceded, to just the team not, gelling as well together after that. But those are my player ratings. It's unfortunate how the match ended, but there is the second match we have at Atletico away. So, it's basically 0-0 in a way, but, hopefully in that next match we can get the win and advance to the final. So, I hope you guys enjoyed today's match review, and I'll see you guys next time.